Hi everybody, it's Will on Y4 and I'm back with my second video in this mini series on how time differences and locations can affect production in Starfield. The first video was an experiment in which I set up uh, an extractor in two different locations and we compared the output from it. This video goes a little bit further in beginning to hook up fabricators and ultimately a full production system. So I hope you enjoy it. Here comes the video. Now I've set up my fabricator test here, and you can see we're going to be making 0 wire. Now let me give a shout out to this fabulous mod, Resource Organizing, and it provides these great signs that you can see that can either be attached to devices, to containers like I did here, or to the fabricators, or over here, cool little signs that go in front of these bins. So this mod's available on Xbox and PC. So what I've done, obviously you can see from here, is that we're going to be manufacturing 0 wire, and that requires silver and copper. And you can see I have some silver here and some copper here. I have to link everything together, get them connected, and then I'm going to sleep. And I think I'll sleep for 2 hours because these things work more slowly than our extractors do. So let me take a break and get it all connected. Now I'll go and sleep for 2 hours. See if we've created any 0 wire. 47 0 wires in 2 hours. That's pretty good. So like before, we're now going to change the output of our 0 wire fabricator from the bin to our production collector. So we'll just go over and create an output link. Okay, let's just check and make sure that that's working. Yeah, okay. So now we want to go to Katydid and set up the same system. Everything is set up here the same way it was before. We have a 0 wire fabricator that's producing 0 wire that goes in this bin. And I have silver and copper in these two containers that are linked to the fabricator. So now we're going to go and we're going to sleep for 2 hours. Let's see how many we have. 4,729. So remember, at Crete we had 42. So it is at least 100 times more. But let's see what happens when we go up and use our, let's take out everything from the consolidation, and we'll see. We have to take everything out of that. So after our little nap here, let's see how we did. 4,786. It's roughly the same amount that we produced in 2 hours right here on Katydid. So this confirms what we saw with the extractor experiment, that the amount of production that you get from any part of your system depends totally on where you are doing that production finally. So if I had an outpost Or if I took this outpost here on Katydid 3 and used this as the basis for my titanium fuel rod production, I would get, and nothing else changed, I would get twice the amount of production as I have gotten on Decaron 7B, in which the ratio is 45 to 1. So it'll be even a little more than twice the amount of production. On the other hand, if I set up the entire production system on Crete, I would only get 1/100th of the production that I would get here. This is dramatic and is a profound difference. So one, of course, parenthetically, one small problem with using Katydid is there's no helium. But heck, uh, there is helium in the system. I can create a local link and ship it in and run everything out of here and get twice the production, therefore twice the credits. So this is really interesting. Another conclusion I've reached is that I have set up my main factory that produces all the products on Zeta Opiki 1. Zeta Opiki 1 has less than 1-to-1 ratio. So that is really a problem I'm going to have to address. Okay, enough of my self-analysis here. So I think it's clear that if you're just moving materials from one location to another for production, being on a planet or moon like this one where you have such a huge time difference results in dramatic improvement in productivity. But the final part of this experiment is what happens if you take this principle and apply it to a more complex manufacturing setup. And what I'm going to do is to set up a two-step process where we make zero wire in one location, ship it to a second location where it gets combined to create semi-metal wafers, and then ship it back to here and ship it to Crete, where we have such a dramatic time difference, and see what effect it has on the final output of semi-metal wafers. So, okay, on to Zeta Opiki 1. This is Zeta Opiki 1, and we're making zero wire here. You see a couple fabricators and copper and silver. The silver you could mine here. The copper is you can't, but I brought everything in for this experiment. Well, why Zeta Opiki 1? Well, this is one reason. A local hour is only 33 minutes universal time, which means it's extremely slow. But this zero wire is being shipped out by this cargo link that you can see to Zeta Opiki 6A, which has a slightly better ratio or a larger ratio. But I wanted, for the demonstration, I wanted to have a manufacturing process that combined a local cargo link like that one with an interstellar one, which we have at 6A that goes to either Crete or Katydid. So let's go to 6A and take a look at it. Here on Zeta Opiki 6A, we are making our semi-metal wafers. There's a couple compound fabricators there that take the raw materials, the zero wire, antimony, and gold, and this is where the output would go. There's no sign yet for semi-metal wafers. One thing I wanted to show you, just to follow up on what I was talking about before, here the time difference is slightly more than an hour and 12 minutes. So between these two sites, it's almost one, slightly under 1-to-1. So here is the next step that is happening. I've linked this output to an inter-system cargo link that you can see goes to Crete. So we'll follow it now. Back on Crete, and you can see that semi-metal wafers are coming through. It's slow. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these out. It's also dark here, so I'm going to sleep. Let's say, what time is it? 1:45. Let's sleep for 10 hours. Although actually I already slept for one, so we'll make it 9 hours, and the sun will be up anyway. Well, discovered something, guys. We got 496, you can see here. But when I came from my little nap, there were 0 here. And I believe I read somewhere that the cargo links don't actually, the cargo ships don't actually fly when you were sleeping. However, once I got up and went over to that cargo link and came back, all that had been accumulated in the 400 in the 10 hours ended up in the cargo links. So 496. I'm going to take a note of that. And the next step is I'm going to go back to ZOPK, disable this link, and link up to Katydid 3, and we'll see how many we get there in 10 hours. Okay, bear with me. All right, I went back and created the link, so now we have this cargo link is connected back to ZOPK 6A, and let's sleep for 10 hours. Okay, guys, here I am. I wish I could say I had a restful sleep. I got up to go look at this container after 10 hours, and there was a pirate attack going on. So I had dismissed all my companions because I didn't want them interrupting me with, ridiculous offers of things they want to show me and so on. So I had to fight them off on my own, and I died a couple times. I mean, it was really horrible. So, but anyway, enough complaining. Let's see what we got here. 10,300. We had 496 at Crete. So we're at a ratio of about 20 to 1 by using Katydid as a home base for a daisy chain construction system. So there's a couple of reasons why I think there's such a drastic difference. 100 to 1 with raw materials. And I think obviously we have cargo links as an intermediary process here or function. And secondly, I could easily have run out of materials back somewhere along this daisy chain. And, it's a nuisance to have to go and go to every site and check every bin. So it is frustrating. I think that clearly I've made the point or proven the point that if you're going to do manufacturing, you want your last step to be at a place, a planet or a moon like this, where you have a tremendous time difference. But, I'm sorry, that's one last thing I have to talk about, which is, so those of you who've seen my videos know I'm a tremendous fan of centralized production. Daisy chain production for me is just too much trouble. So I've gone ahead and I've set up a little central production work site over here, and let me show you what I've done. Here we have bins for silver, gold, copper, and antimony. Here we have a bin for 0 wire, and this container over here is where the semi-metal wafers will go. So here's the theory. I now have 2 intersystem cargo links, both connected to ZOPK. ZOPK 1 for the 0 wire components, that is copper and silver, and this one's from ZOPK 6A, which will have antimony and gold. They will go into this one cool looking container right here in the middle, and that will be then distributed to sorters from the Magnus, the Magnate mod, which is, my favorite mod. It's not available on Xbox, unfortunately. So I'll go up and I'll show you exactly how it's how it's going to work. Materials come in to this bin. Then they get sent to each of these sorters. The sorters then put their material in these bins. Then I've gone and I've connected these bins to the respective fabricator. So you can see here, this is antimony. Obviously, that only goes to these big compounds that do semi-metal. Now, nothing is flowing yet because we're gonna do our test and see how long it will take for those materials to get here. And again, each of these containers is matched up with this fabricator, and of course, the zero wire, which is going here, ends up also going into the fabricators, and then it ends up in this bin. So that's that experiment. So now I'm going to go to the planets one last time, I hope, and hook up the other side of the cargo links. Okay, here we are after 10 hours with no pirates this time. Let's see how we're doing with our semi-metal wafer production. 23,084. Well, back of the envelope calculation, this is about 50 times more than we were getting from the daisy chain Crete operation. And here, I'm pretty sure that all the materials that I had seeded to start this process have come in during that 10-hour period. And yeah, they're all in bins. So they're just ready to be fabricated. If I had a dozen fabricators here, they would all be going full steam ahead, and I'd be getting a tremendous quantity of semi-metal wafers. So something that's interesting that I've learned here, in addition to the effect of time, and now that we have cargo links involved, it's pretty obvious that the fabricators are working on universal time, not on my local time, because I mean, I did sleep 10 hours locally, but to go from 0 to 23,000 semi-metal wafers is 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 really something. So that time difference is not just theoretical. It really makes a difference, and it doesn't matter where or how you're getting all your materials to a planet like this one. Once you start to put them together, you get a tremendous, tremendous result. So that's the end of this video today, guys. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you would subscribe. Leave any comments. I will leave links to everything we talked about. And I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be a little simpler on containers and container sizes, and then the production distribution systems like we've seen here with the Magnus, the Magnate system. Okay, bye.